We're going to talk a little bit about the City Open. By the numbers, when you think about them, $28 million of gross economic impact in the Washington metropolitan area. The guy with us will talk a little bit about it. Dennis Spencer, Senior VP for Lagardère North America International Broadcast, also has your invisible hand all over this tennis tournament as well. So, Dennis, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's fun to see you.
And thank you for slipping so gingerly into that seat.
I do things gingerly these days.
Yeah, that's really good. So we're still using that pen, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently it's sophisticated enough.
I didn't even know they made felt tip pens anymore.
Well, they do. It's consistent. So, and by the way, you hear outside, I'm going to wrap up after Dennis is over. We're going to go out there and we're going to take a look. We are right basically in the box overlooking the tennis tournament. Show that for a second so we can see it. I don't know if people can see that, but what's going on is a match between Zverev and Fritz in one of the very interesting matches of this middle of week tournament.
So it was a world-class pan by our camera person, Cami Cease.
Cami Cease is our executive producer today. You know, we get commitments from the executive producers all the time, and she's been really good. If the image is shaking, it's because Cami's had a tough night last night, but so far everything's been good. And Dennis, of course, is really great at this. $2.5 million total player compensation, 48th year, the Rock Creek Tennis Center, founded in 1969. It's a big deal, but Dennis, more important is the consistency of this event here in Washington.
It's really been remarkable when you think that basically this is the oldest event in America at one site. And the reason it's here is because Donald L., who was on just a minute ago, founded the tournament with Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was his first client. And Arthur said, Donald, I'll play the event in Washington, D.C. every year as long as you put it in a public park. So here we are in a public park. National Park Service runs it, and it's been in this park for 48 years now. And it really is a remarkable story when you think about how this tournament has been able to compete and become a top 20 ATP tournament in the world, given public park, not a lot of private things you can do. And it's a great story.
Donald and Ken both referred to the international and gender-neutral aspect of tennis. Generally, what's the field? How many world tennis players in this field versus Americans? What's the ratio here?
I think it's about, at least on the men's side, it's maybe 60-40 international, because we're a U.S. tournament, a lot of Americans play. And normally it's more like probably 80-20 in the three non-Olympic years. Women are probably a little heavier on the international side this year, but it's great draws, and we're having a lot of fun.
Is it a hard event? It is. What are the challenges of putting together an event effectively between two majors in the summer series?
Well, the tough part for this specific event is that because this is used for the public, all year round, we basically have 10 days to set it up and a week to tear it down. So the amount of staff power that goes into basically creating this out of nothing is a huge challenge. And then the competition itself is, it's got to be world-class standard in everything we do. And so that's, you got a short amount of time to pull it off.
Well, the event itself is one thing for you, but your international expertise is basically unprecedented around the world as far as putting broadcast deals together. And so give me your international perspective of tennis. Is it easier to do a global deal today than it used to be?
It's so much easier. One, because there are just so many outlets. And two, because when you look at the media world that we're living in, live content is just being gobbled up. Because as the audience continue to fracture, as we all have more viewing options, you can time shift anything you want, you can deliver it any way you want, but the one thing you really can't change is live sports. And that ranges, you see that every way from the proliferation of betting on the sport in Europe and in Asia to even our viewing patterns in America. I mean, just think about last week at the British Open tennis.
Yeah.
The golf. The Open. Time shift the last day.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that? You're going to time shift. Any TV show you want to watch. You're going to time shift Downton Abbey, but you're not going to time shift the Open.
Is there? How do we deal long term with this generation who are looking at this show through those kind of devices, who don't care about having television sets, and more important, who want their matches over at a certain time and an hour and all of that kind of stuff? I mean, it's a challenge in the future, isn't it?
It's a real challenge, but you saw part of the answer already when Ken was flipping around courts there on his phone earlier. I mean, that's the future. We're doing 3 courts every day here, and it's and how you package it, how you slice and dice it is a big challenge. Now, the live sports, you really, it's hard to shrink them up except in highlights, and if you want the live immediacy, you really can't do that. I think a big challenge for tennis is, of course, the length of the matches. It's maybe the hardest thing to program in all of sports. Particularly, you think about a Davis Cup where the matches are 3 of 5 sets. The Sunday of Davis Cup can be the greatest day of television or the worst day of television, depending on the results.
Yeah, and is there a way, greater minds than this haven't been able to solve that. What's that look like 5 years from now?
Well, Dave Haggerty, the former president of the USTA, now the chairman of the ITF, is working hard on it, and I think the first thing they'll do is create a Final Four at one location. I'd love to see them play it every other year, like the Ryder Cup's played. Yeah. It just chews up too much bandwidth. So
the bottom line of all of this is that you're excited about this event. What does this event look like 5, 6, 8 years from now?
Well, I think, if history tells us anything, the prize money is going to keep going up. I think the sponsors will be even more attracted to it because of, the audience it drives. I mean, the video, the media, the digital, and the television on an event like this is incredible. We're in 182 countries. Tennis Channel starts. They played last year's final at 8 a.m. Monday, and except for the hours of 2 a.m. to 6 when they're doing their Vegematic infomercials or whatever,
right.
It's going to be City Open tennis for 7 days.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing event, and really thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
And this is a real pen. I just want you to know. I know it's hard to find a felt tip like this, but if you want to buy microphone holders as felt tips, just look at my website, and I'll be able to sell you that. Not a problem. So let's go through some perspective on this. Dennis, really appreciate it, and I just wanted to give you all some perspective on where we are in the tennis business, and then we'll conclude things. I think very positive for a number of different reasons. The first one, it's international, it's global. The players, when you look at the top 12 by anybody's account, there's only one that's basically North American in any context, Serena Williams. While some people would point to the fact that means that you don't have the top emerging young Americans, when you look at the bottom 50 or so in this top 100, they're there, they're coming, and it really is, for this international audience, an incredibly international sport. It's also gender neutral. We discussed that before. The WTA, the Women's Tennis Association, about $70 million of revenue or income every year versus about $107 million for the men. But both of them collectively up 55% over the last 5 years. So they're increasing on a regular basis, and they will continue to increase. Next, the mix of icons and emerging superstars. You heard Donald talk about the old days, the Rod Laver days, the Borg days, the McEnroe days. But when you look at the top people from the Horrow Sports Ventures, Power 100, as well as the top paid tennis players, and you look at the men, it's Murray, Federer, Nadal, Wawrinka, Nishikori, and Thiem. Now, that's a mix of old and new. On the women's side, Sharapova, she's going to sit out for a while, if and she may never come back, but it's Kerber, it's Kvitova, it's Muguruza, who won last year, and it's Venus Williams. Serena's up there, number one. The bottom line is a tremendous mix of old and new, and I think that's very important. Next, the diverse sponsors. We talked about that deal that was done on the women's side platform. That's a huge deal. The corporate dollars are there. The city presence is here at the City Open, but there's also a very significant set of corporate sponsors. And then the mixture between the players' ability to earn on-court and off-court. About 4 to 8 times the off-court money is earned on-court. And the Olympic dollars are very insignificant when you think about the patriotism there, although corporations need to continue to have their home. The bottom line is this. Tennis is in very good hands. There's an event that's going on right out here. Dennis Spencer, Donald Dell, Ken Solomon, and all of them continue to play a very significant hand in this. There are challenges. There will be players that drop out of the Olympics. There are the confusing governance aspects of the men's and women's event. Do the majors get consolidated as far as governing structure is concerned? How do you cut back the event so they're ending at a certain time for timing? Dennis Spencer identified all those issues. Bottom line is, it has challenges like every other sport, but they're meeting those challenges. That's why tennis is here to stay as a major sport in not only the American but the international sports scene. I'm Rick Horrow. That's Facebook Live. Thank you. Talk to you in the next couple of weeks.